Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. It's Friday, August 26th, 2016. It's reported that earlier today, the cousin of basketball superstar Dwayne Wade was killed by crossfire in a Chicago intersection, meaning she wasn't the target, random bullets hit her. If you're new to my channel, I talk about the language of gematria and how news stories are made up on a daily basis by the numbers. Propaganda created by a numerical structure. And there's a language called gematria, which is the practice of coding numbers into words. We're going to be talking about that language, and for a brief introduction, just know that the phrase crossfire has the same gematria as Chicago Bulls. Dwayne Wade, the NBA superstar, grew up in Chicago and has played 13 years of his NBA career in Miami. This season, on July 6th, he signed with the Chicago Bulls, returning home. A month ago, on July 13th, he also attended the ESPY Awards, the ESPN Awards for sports accomplishments. He joined three other NBA superstars on the stage, Carmelo Anthony, Chris Paul, and LeBron James, and spoke out about gun violence, saying we need to do whatever we can to stop the needless gun violence, the needless gun deaths. And now here we are a month later, and we get headlines about his cousin dying on a very suspicious date. In this video, what I'm going to show you is that the death of his cousin is one of two things truly. Either a ritual sacrifice for his return to Chicago, or a completely fictional story with a made-up name to help further an agenda. Right now in the United States of America, what we are living out is a planned agenda that is fueled with propaganda every day, from shootings to scare stories of terrorism, to scare stories of mosquito disease and illness, to reminders why you need to stock up on your meds and your mosquito repellent. You know, we live in a very fear-driven world, a news that's full of very negative news media programming. And the reason this is done to us is because when we're scared, when we're intimidated, we're in more of a submissive state, if that's even a word, but we are willing to submit to authority. And it is our government that does this to us, and they want us to submit to them, to follow their lead. You know, September 11th happens, what happens? They tell us we need to go to war, we need to give up our liberties, we need to become a spy state, they need to be able to collect our information. This is the reason they scare us. With each scare, we give away more of our rights, they gain more power and control. People such as Dwayne Wade, celebrities, actors, entertainers, they are often used in this propaganda because the people trust the celebrities, the entertainers. Many people worship these athletes, these actors, these musicians. Per usual in these stories, they like to add details that bring in, the emotional element, the human element. They say this woman was pushing a stroller in the intersection when she was killed. In the reporting I've seen, they haven't said if it was her baby. But, one would assume you're pushing a stroller, it's probably your child. Either that or someone in your family. So we're going to be talking about why this is either a ritual sacrifice or complete propaganda by the numbers. If you are new here, please stay tuned. By the end of this video, you will have a lot of other important knowledge. I'll also supplement this story with a story from Chicago about this time last year, the killings of Ronald Johnson and Laquan McDonald. But check this out. The word stroller has gematria of 38, just like death. And these are numbers that they love to code in stories of killing. A stroller relates to death. Stroller in gematria also sums to 119, a very important number to Freemasonry and Zionism. It is the Freemasons, it is the Zionists who control our media, who control these entertainment, sports leagues, record studios, Hollywood. There is very much a Masonic, Zionist, Jewish ownership over much of this world, especially the Western world. And they are the ones who code these numbers. In the Jewish faith, there is Kabbalah, Jewish mysticism surrounding numbers, which is completely centered on gematria, numbers into words. Important phrases with 119 gematria. Last year's NBA Finals was won by LeBron James, nicknamed King James, on the real King James's birthday, June 19th. If you haven't seen my work on the NBA Finals and all the ritual sacrifices during that, please check it out. The work is undeniable. Undeniable. So Dwayne Wade, he was born January 17th, 1982, currently 34 years old, born in Chicago, returning to Chicago. From today until his upcoming birthday is 144 days, and this is a number connected to death and assassinations throughout history. For 3 years, I've been talking about how this number is connected to every president to die in office and so many other deaths throughout history. The word killer has gematria of this. Time also has gematria of this. Time is a real killer. For each of us, hourglass of time, it's one less day. But these are special numbers, 144. For this death to come 144 days before his 35th birthday is no coincidence. Speaking of Chicago and basketball, Michael Jordan retired with the Washington Wizards. Washington has the same gematria as Chicago Bulls. Anyhow, when Michael Jordan came out of his last game, it was against the Philadelphia 76ers with 1:44 left. And remember, time equals 144. This is an important number all throughout history when you know to look for it. There's a reason Michael Jordan checked out his last game 1:44, and there's also a reason his last game was against Philadelphia. The first ever basketball championship was in 1947. It was the Chicago Stags versus the Philadelphia Warriors, who are now the Golden State Warriors. Think about how the Golden State Warriors eclipsed Chicago's winning record this year during Kobe's final game, who's from Philly. If you haven't seen my work on Kobe Bryant, his father, the Golden State Warriors, and Michael Jordan, as well as Steph Curry and Del Curry, it will blow your mind. There's about 5 videos I have talking about each element. It shows just how synced up the NBA has been by the numbers. It's a history of Masonic families and Zionist sellouts. With regards to 76ers, Dwayne Wade just signed on 7/6, July 6th, with the Bulls. Also, there's only 2 numbers when written out as words that sum to 144. They're 44 and 71. This upcoming NBA season will be the 71st. It begins on a date with 71 numerology, and the name of the cousin who died has name gematria of 71. We'll talk more about it. But the point is, these numbers aren't arbitrary. It's why this comes 144 days before his next birthday. Also, it comes in a span of 223 days from his last birthday. And 223 is the number of the Freemasons. Masonic 223, the Star-Spangled Banner 223. This number's coded all over our nation's history. In Revelation, the book of prophecy, we're going to talk about how Revelation in the book of prophecy connects to the Bulls and this death. Very important numbers. I was telling last year why the NBA Finals would be Cavs over Warriors according to the Book of Prophecy, because so often sports are scripted from the numbers of this book. Anyhow, in Revelation, the Book of Prophecy, it says the synagogue of Satan, the false Jews, will rule in the end times. And that's exactly who controls the NBA. David Stern, Adam Silver, these are Zionist Jews. The Zionist Jews are the false Jews. From Dwayne Wade's 34th birthday until this death is 223 days. And with regards to him being 34, the word murder equals 34, suicide 34, fentanyl equals 34. There's these headlines about Prince overdosing from fentanyl on a date with a life lesson number of 34. Earlier this year in February, I predicted that Prince might very well die soon, and I talked about the number 67. He ended up dying in a span of 67 days from vanity. I said he might die after vanity died. All by the numbers. So in case you're new here, in case you're thinking this is coincidence, it is not. This is really what's going on. I've cracked into this Masonic code. I'm sharing it with the world so enough people can get the information and we can stop this, because it truly is sick. And being someone such as myself who's awake, who cares, who's trying to spread knowledge, to be aware of this and just keep watching these headlines day after day, week after week, and somehow, I don't get it, people. I'm putting this message out. I'm putting it out as clear as can be. I'm backing up my points. The things I'm predicting, they're coming true. We live in the age, of the internet, the cell phone, all this information at your fingertips instantly. People can share stuff so quickly through text message, social media. Somehow after doing this for 3 years, somehow only 20,000 people are here. You know what I mean? Internet where hundreds of millions of people are every day. Only 20,000 people care about the truth. It doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, let's move on. I don't mean to sound like a defeatist. I'm just saying we have to step our game up. This needs to stop. We have the knowledge to expose what's going on to make people want to stop it. From the day Dwayne Wade signed until this killing is 51 days. The NBA season also begins on a date with 51 numerology. The word conspiracy equals 51. Think about Area 51. This kill story is very much a conspiracy. Whether it's a fake death, a ritual killing, it's conspiracy either way. Other words with 51 gematria include Freemason, Cleveland, the defending champs, Michael, self-explanatory name in Chicago, federal. These false flag shootings are a federal agenda. We're going to watch the speech that Dwayne Wade and company gave at the ESPYs in a moment. If you count the span of days, it's also 52 days. 52 days if you count the full span, the end date. 52 is the prophecy number, and Revelation is the book of prophecy. The day Dwayne Wade signed with the Bulls was a date with 49 numerology. Revelation equals 49. Chicago Bulls equals 49. The square root of 49 is 7. 7 days after signing with Chicago, Dwayne Wade at the ESPYs giving the speech on gun violence. Special number in numerology, 7 represents complete. The gematria of crossfire, the headlines all say she was killed in a crossfire. Crossfire equals 49, the same number. Date assigning, date relevant to the team, and in simple English gematria, crossfire equals the same thing as Chicago Bulls. Zionist equals 112. 112 is the alt dialing code for 911. Bulls in simple English gematria also sums to 66. Revelation is the 66th book of Bible, the book of prophecy. If you write out the number 6 alone as a word, it sums to 52 like prophecy. In Revelation, the number 666 is made infamous. Jewish gematria 666 equals prophecy. Thus 666 and 666 all connect to prophecy. Our entire language is based on this numerical system, and a lot of it ties into the Bible, which was written in 2 languages that are based on gematria. The Old Testament written in Hebrew. Hebrew language is letters and numbers. The New Testament written in Greek, also Aramaic, but Greek, a language that was based on numbers and letters as well. The Greek alphabet also 26 letters like ours. 26, by the way, is the God number. Jordan equaled 26. Brian equaled 26. 2 players, very similar careers. Special number. Anyhow, August 26, 2016 to October 25th, 2016, which is the start of the upcoming NBA season, is 61 days. 61 days from this shooting to the start of the season. And in gematria, finals equals 61. You might recall that the NBA finals ended this year on a date with 61 numerology. That date was June 19th, 2016. 6 plus 19 is 25, plus 20 more is 45, plus 16 more is 61. NBA Finals ended on a date with 61 numerology, and the Warriors and the Cavs came into Game 7, both having scored exactly 610 points. Just lose the 0 from the end. 610 is the 15th Fibonacci number. It made me think of how it was the last game of the 2015-16 season. This year, the date the season begins will be also the date the World Series starts. Anyhow, that's a date with 71 numerology. 71 numerology, the date the World Series, the World Series begins, as well as the NBA season, and this year is the 71st NBA season. Dwayne Wade's cousin, named Gematrian, sums to 71 as well. The name Wade, you should know, has gematria of 33, a number often encoded into these false flag shootings. False flag equals 33. But NBA Finals equals 33, Cleveland equals 33. If we get an Eastern Conference Finals of Cavs and Bulls, remember this news story. That is a very likely Eastern Conference Finals. This year will be the Cavs' 47th season in the NBA. Ohio equals 47, very special number. The first NBA championship in 47. It was the BBA then, became the NBA. The Chicago team was in that championship. So this year in the Cavs' 47th season, a Cavs Bulls Eastern Conference Finals would make a lot of sense. Hard to say who would win that right now. Still a lot of research to do. But keep this in mind based on these stories. A lot of times the blood sacrifices, they accumulate to meaning your team will end up being in a sports championship or a conference championship. We saw that with the Oklahoma City Thunder last year. Dwayne Wade, headline, Enough is Enough. Enough is Enough has gematria of 78 like NBA Finals and simple English gematria, also like Cleveland. Cleveland became the first team to win a Game 7 in the NBA Finals since 1978. The last time it happened, the Washington Bullets out of Washington, D.C. defeated the Seattle Supersonics in Seattle in Washington State. Washington NBA Finals. Those NBA Finals finished on the 122nd meridian, just like the ones in Golden State. Seattle and Golden State on the same meridian. 122 represents the number for God in Jewish gematria. So the cousin of Dwayne Wade, this is her name right here, Nakia Aldridge, age 32. They say she was killed at about 3:30, a lot like 33, the number that's often in false flags, as I said. Her name in gematria sums to 62 and 71. And again, 71st NBA season. The season begins on a date with 71 numerology. Her last name, Aldridge, has gematria 42, a number that's stamped on black people again and again in a negative way. Black History Month is February, the only month with 42 gematria. The most hateful word for black people sums to 42. I'm quite certain that's why Jackie Robinson wore 42. Zionism and Freemason both have gematria 42. The Freemasons believe in divide and conquer. The Zionists, no doubt, have more hatred for black people than the rest of the people of the world. But at the same time, these people have nothing but contempt for all of humanity. They've just gone way out of their way to spread their hate for black people. And they love to use them as their entertainers by the numbers. Negro equals 59, Slave 59, Blues 59, Motown Records came out in 59, Michael Jordan equals 59, and a million more. So here they are at the ESPYs. This one is Dwayne Wade. If you don't know these guys, Carmelo Anthony, Chris Paul, who lost his grandfather at age 61. Not by coincidence, then he scored 61 points in his high school game. His high school's name in gematria sums to 61. A lot of ritual sacrifice when people make it, from signing with schools. Kevin Durant, same thing. Kevin Durant's high school coach murdered at age 35. His name in gematria summed to 35. Here's Dwayne Wade, now either getting a ritual sacrifice for him or again participating in a completely fictional story. LeBron James just had a number of people killed in connection to him for the NBA Finals, including Nate Thurmond, former NBA great who wore the number 42 for the Warriors and the Cavs, was born in Akron, Ohio, just like LeBron and Steph Curry, all born at the same hospital. Carmelo Anthony, I don't know enough about him. I don't follow his past. If he's had any deaths close to him that have been suspicious and people want to tell me about it, I'll investigate. There probably has been some deaths there I'm just not aware of. So much ritual sacrifice for these high caliber athletes in pro sports. So these ESPYs, they took place July 13th, a date that can be written 13/7. 13/7 is a lot like 137, the 33rd prime number. And in gematria, some special words equal 137. Authority, Washington, D.C., American meridian, that's the meridian that cuts through D.C. It's the 77th meridian. Chicago is divided into 77 neighborhood areas. Judaism equals 77. Chicago, very much a Zionist Mecca, and the United States of America from the beginning has been a Jewish, Masonic, Zionist nation. Again, 137 is the 33rd prime number. With regards to Washington, D.C. and 137, Federal's 33, Police 33, Race War 33, Order 33, Masonry 33, Secrecy 33. That's what's going on in all of these stories. All of these stories contribute to the race war, programming, the federal agenda. Some other 33 words: Black Lives, as in Black Lives Matters. Kafir is the hateful word for black people in South Africa. With the K exception, it also sums to 42. Dwayne Wade, the person killed was supposedly a woman. If she really died, I think the reason a woman was targeted, was because she had the perfect name gematria with the upcoming 71st season. Woman also has gematria of 66 like bulls. They said she was killed in the South Side. Marquette in Southside have the same gematria. Dwayne Wade played his college ball at Marquette in Wisconsin. Wisconsin has the same gematria as shooting as kill. We just got the story of Sylville Smith. Sylville Smith. If you missed this story of Sylville Smith, it started a protest, looting in Wisconsin. Look at this. Sylville Smith, very bizarre spelling of a name, 59. This number stamped all over black people. Kill number. Sylville, also a name with 44 gematria. Happens in Sheriff Clark's neighborhood. Look at the name of his mother, Truth Seeker. Mildred Haynes, gematria of 137. Mildred Haynes, her initials are MH138. The shooting was August 13th, 13/8. But her name, again, these same numbers coded again and again and again in all of these shootings that happened on Sherman Street. It's always the same, Truth Seeker, but the point I'm trying to make is the Wisconsin connection. Perhaps part of the reason Dwayne Wade was chosen is because of his connection to Wisconsin, which just had the last major false flag shooting. In the headlines from CNN, NBA star cousins killed in crossfire. CNN always codes their stamp times with numbers of significance. Chicago 46, Chaos 46. The Freemasons believe in order through chaos. Sacrifice 46 if this woman really did die. Their story, which we'll check out in a second, they even make it 46 seconds long, as they always do. And again, if you're watching this, you're newer here, you're skeptical, you think this sounds crazy, watch the videos I've been making for the 3 years. I show the same thing every single time. It's the same thing every single time. It drives me nuts. The reporting says she died about 45 minutes later at a hospital. Well, let me show you what's up. That's another number relevant to the state, relevant to Dwayne Wade. Illinois 45, Cubs 45. We were just talking about 46. Chicago Cubs also 46 in Chicago. They're on the 108-year drought. 108 seams on a baseball. Dwayne Wade comes after 13 seasons back to his hometown of Chicago. Miami equals 45, like Illinois equals 45 the small way. But look at this. 13 when written out equals 45. He spent 13 years in Miami. Miami 45, 13 45. Look at how Illinois and 13 are the exact same. He comes to Illinois, his hometown, after 13 years in Miami. Every single pro athlete's career, and I'm talking about NFL, NBA, MLB, they're all scripted this way. See the videos I put out in the last week, such as the signing of Antonio Cromartie, a tribute to Super Bowl III. It's just amazing what these people are doing once you're aware of it. So we're going to watch this news story here in a second of Dwayne Wade's mother, and we're also going to watch the SB speech. Pastor Yolinda Wade. Pastor Yolinda Wade equals 187, the homicide code for many police departments. Today's date numerology 70. Her name in Pythagorean gematria sums to 70. With the S exception, her name sums to 79, like murder. 79 is the 22nd prime number. Basketball in gematria equals 22. 22, the master builder number in numerology. If you take off the pastor part, Yolinda Wade equals 44, like kill, like shooting, like Wisconsin as well. Why would these people do this? Money. Money, money, money. Money is power in this world. A lot of people sell out for money. Let's watch her on the news, and then let's watch Dwayne Wade, July 13th at the ESPYs. Got you tuned up. Here we go, Truth Seeker. This is today. I want you to also think about how this shooting happened today and how quickly they get the family together for the news coverage. Ooh, I got a moth in here. Just think about it, how fast this all comes together. You can just tell that this is packaged propaganda to continue sell the narrative that something needs to be done about gun violence in this country. When, people, you have to recognize what we live in. We live in a war empire. These people make money off manufacturing weapons. They know that with all of these shooting stories, it causes a certain element to go out and buy more guns, more ammunition. And then the politicians, they make money for the people that do all the printing and the voting booths. And it's just a big racket and noise machine. Notice how it's always the same topics every election cycle, but nothing changes. People just constantly caught up in the noise. This is how it's maintained. It's always this way. Check this out.
Just set up on a panel yesterday, the undefeated, talking about the violence that's going on within our city, Chicago.
So what she's saying right now is just yesterday, Dwayne Wade was on a panel called The Undefeated. I should check the gematria on that. Talking out about gun violence, just yesterday. And now the next day, the story of his cousin being killed.
Never knowing that the next day, we would be the ones that would be actually living and experiencing it.
She didn't seem too torn up, She's already ready to go before the camera, tell the story behind the sunglasses. She probably gets paid more than most of us will make in the next decade working a 9 to 5, 365. So I guess the sound drops out. This is the footage they want to show us. That's the shooting news, I guess. Let's also watch, from July 13th at the ESPYs. This is Carmelo Anthony. His head's off the screen to start. Here we go.
Good evening. Tonight is a celebration of sports, celebrating our accomplishments and our victories. But in this moment of celebration, we actually start the show tonight this way. The four of us talking to our fellow athletes with the country watching, because we cannot ignore the realities of the current state of America. The events of the past week have put a spotlight on the injustice, distrust, and anger that plague so many of us. The system is broken. The problems are not new. The violence is not new. And the racial divide definitely is not new. But the urgency to create change is at an all-time high.
We stand here tonight accepting our role in uniting communities to be the change we need to see. We stand before you as fathers, sons, husbands, brothers, uncles, and in my case, as an African-American man and the nephew of a police officer, who was one of the hundreds of thousands of great officers serving this country. But Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, Tamir Rice.
All of these names that he's saying out, Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, Tamir Rice, these are all the same type of shooting. What either happened in all of these shootings is these children were ritually sacrificed and given up by their parents. In the case of Trayvon Martin, his father a Freemason. Or they're all just made up bogus news. The initials for Trayvon Martin, TM, 20 plus 13, the 33rd letter. George Zimmerman, G plus Z, 7 plus 26, the 33rd letter. Trayvon Martin was buried on March 3rd, 3-3, the anniversary of the beating by Rodney King. Police equals 33, LAPD equals 33, race war equals 33, Black Lives 33. Michael Brown, the name Michael equals 33. I started this video channel at the time of the Michael Brown shooting. For days, they didn't put out the name of the police officer, but I put out a video and I said, watch, when they release the name of the police officer, their name will sum to 33. Sure enough, his name was Darren. Darren equals 33. Darren came out wearing a shirt with the number 42 on it that said Blues. Of course, he's in Missouri where the hockey team's the St. Louis Blues. But 42, Blues equals 59, 42 and 59, the number stamped on black people in a negative way. This, the shooter of Michael Brown. Ferguson equals 42, Missouri 42, plus a whole lot more. Tamir Rice shot in Cleveland. Cleveland, one of the only cities that sums to 33, plus a whole lot more. I have a number of videos on Tamir Rice. The point is, all of these shootings are the exact same, coded by the same numbers, syncing up, with 33, with the date. All part of an agenda, very transparent when you know what to look for.
Eric Gardner, Laquan McDonald.
Eric Garner. Eric Garner, the police officer was choking him out wearing the number 99. Where it happened, I think it was Staten Island. Whatever the location was, the gematria of that location is 99, plus a whole lot more. See my work on Eric Gardner. All of these stories are propaganda bullshit. And if these people really did die, they were ritual sacrifices by the numbers. And here's Chris Paul, someone who gave up his own grandfather for his stardom. It's sick. That's what people don't understand. They trust these athletes, these celebrities that do nothing but sell out the masses for big money and fame. All of these athletes are in on these rig sports, taking these huge salaries, duping the hardworking fans who pay way too much money to watch these games.
Alton Sterling, Philando Castile.
Alton Sterling, Philando Castile. If you haven't seen my work on that shooting, synced up with the Blue Lives Matter bill, first signed in Louisiana, which is about enhancing police body armor, more armored vehicles, more heavy weaponry. All of these shootings are part of an agenda that ultimately comes back to hurt us all. That's what people don't understand.
This is also our reality. Generations ago, legends like Jesse Owens, Jackie Robinson, Muhammad Ali, John Carlos, and Tommy Smith, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Jim Brown, Billie Jean King, Arthur Ashe, and countless others. They set a model for what athletes should stand for. So we choose to follow in their footsteps. The racial profiling has to stop. The shoot to kill.
I notice how they have Carmelo Anthony and Dwayne Wade in black on black and Chris Paul and LeBron James in black and white. This shooting in Chicago, they're probably going to say it was a black on black homicide. See if Carmelo Anthony gets a story similar like this later this season, or maybe even this offseason.
Brutality has to stop. Not seeing the value of black and brown bodies has to stop. But also the retaliation has to stop. The endless gun violence in places like Chicago, Dallas, not to mention Orlando, it has to stop. Enough.
Everything he just named was a false flag shooting. Every single one. And these athletes are actors. They sell out their fans. Why not go before them and sell them out on one more thing? They're living a lie. They're well-paid liars. And they have the trust of the people.
Enough is enough. Now, as athletes, it's on us to challenge each other to do even more than what we already do in our own communities. And the conversation cannot stop as our schedules get busy again. It won't always be convenient. It won't. It won't always be comfortable. But it is necessary.
We all feel helpless and frustrated by the violence. We do. But that's not acceptable. It's time to look in the mirror and ask ourselves, what are we doing to create change? It's not about being a role model. It's not about our responsibility to the tradition of activism. I know tonight we'll honor Muhammad Ali, the GOAT. To do his legacy any justice, let's use this moment as a...
In case you're new here, I predicted that Muhammad Ali would die at age 74 because the name Muhammad equals 74, very special number, Masonic 74, Jewish 74. He died on June 3rd of this year, exactly 63 days before the start of the Summer Games. The Prophet Muhammad died at age 63. If you add every number up to 63, it sums to 2016 like the year we're in. Muhammad Ali equals 42, Rio equals 42, LeBron James equals 42. Muhammad Ali died after Game 1 of the NBA Finals. He became boxing champion in 64, the last time the city of Cleveland won a pro sports championship with Jim Brown. I did a video on this the night of, saying this was further proof that the Cavs championship was rigged, and that's what Muhammad Ali's sacrifice was for. And now here's LeBron James talking about it. Then 27 days after LeBron James scores 27 points in Game 7, Nate Thurmond dies at age 74, who 2 years earlier I used to predict that the NBA Finals would be Warriors and Cavs, and again used him to say it would be a repeat this past year. The work that I'm putting out, it has to spread, Truth Seeker. More people have to know about this.
Action for all professional athletes to educate ourselves, explore these issues, speak up, use our influence, and renounce all violence. And most importantly, go back to our communities, invest our time, our resources, help rebuild them, help strengthen them, help change them. We all have to do better.
And LeBron James could do a lot better by coming out and speaking truth about what he knows about, just like the rest of those men on that stage who are all selling out their fans. So here's the last thing I want to close out with. This 187 code, last year, and it was brought up by Dwayne Wade, last year in October, 2 news stories emerged out of nowhere in Chicago of police killing young black men, and both stories were from a year earlier. The names of the young men were Ronald Johnson, Laquan McDonald. Listen to the Ronald McDonald in that, like the mascot of McDonald's, which is headquartered in just outside of Chicago, in Oak Brook, Illinois. Oak Brook, Illinois equals 187. In the year 1984, on January 14th, Ray Kroc died, who was from Oak Brook, Illinois, and made McDonald's the monster corporation that it is. He died January 14th. 187 days later, on July 18th, or 18/7, there was a massacre at a McDonald's in San Ysidro. San Ysidro equals the same thing as massacre. Same gematria. It was a shooting hoax by the numbers, a federal agenda. There were a number of them in the 80s. They were all by the numbers. In the free draft chapter I have on my book, where I've decoded every single shooting hoax in the history of this nation, you see how almost every killer in the 80s named summed to 187. And they continue to use these numbers often in these false flag shootings. Interesting how it connects to the nickname for Dwayne Wade's mother with the pastor in front of it. Something that surely was not by coincidence in the news coverage so quickly put out today. But Ronald Johnson, Laquan McDonald, Chicago last year, and then what happened at the same time, what also joined that news cycle was the San Bernardino shooting by the Muslim couple. Remember this? Their attack was blamed on being inspired by ISIS online, becoming radicalized online in San Bernardino. When the shooting first happened, for the first 12 hours of the day, they said 3 white males dressed in black were the suspects. And then by the end of the day, it turned into a Middle Eastern married couple who worked at the public health department. It's all part of a grand mocking, and there's way more to it. I have videos that go into depth and all these things. With regards to Ray Kroc dying on January 14th, if I can spell San Bernardino right, San Bernardino, it's a weird word. I think that's right. There it is, 114. He died on January 14th. He opened his first McDonald's restaurant in San Bernardino, California. We get a San Bernardino shooting. We get a Laquan McDonald, a Ronald Johnson. And what we have behind the TV screens who give us this programming are a lot of Freemasons and Zionists laughing at us, how they're playing us all for fools, steering us down the path of an agenda that makes all of our lives worse, makes us live under lies and tyranny. So there it is, Truth Seeker. Longer video than expected, but a lot of important information. Hope I explained it clearly enough. If you're new here, please subscribe. Please go through my other work. Lots to share. Always decoding what's happening. Until next time.